I walked off a military transport from a classified combat deployment, still in my uniform, and found my wife's boyfriend sitting in my chair. 11 months, 329 days in a combat zone. I'd promised to come home safe. She'd promised to keep the home worth coming back to. The airport homecoming ceremony was exactly like you'd imagine. 50 families holding signs, kids waving tiny American flags. That particular combination of joy and relief that only military families understand. I scanned the crowd for two faces. My wife, Rebecca, my daughter, Lily. I saw one. Lily stood alone near the back, holding an 8-foot vinyl banner. Even from 30 feet away, I could see her face was red from crying. The banner was in her handwriting, purple marker, glitter stars glued on carefully. "Welcome home, Daddy. We missed you." Rebecca wasn't there. My duffel bag hit the ground. I ran to my daughter, 14 years old, and she felt so small in my arms. She was shaking. "Dad," she whispered against my shoulder, "I need to tell you about Mom." The drive home was silent. Lily sat in the front seat of my truck, hands twisted in her lap. I wanted to ask, but something in her face told me to wait. We pulled into the driveway of our base housing unit, number 2247 Airborne Avenue, home for the last 8 years. The lawn needed mowing. Rebecca's car was there, and another car I didn't recognize, a silver Honda Civic with a contractor parking sticker. I opened the front door. Rebecca was sitting on the couch, casual, like it was any other Tuesday. Next to her was a man I'd never seen before, maybe 29, 30, civilian clothes. He was sitting in my chair, the recliner I'd bought after my second deployment, the one with the worn armrest where I'd rest my coffee every morning before PT. Rebecca stood up. She didn't hug me, didn't smile, just looked at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Annoyance, maybe, or relief that it was finally happening. "Michael," she said, "I'm done with this marriage. I've moved on." She gestured to the man in my chair. He had the decency to look uncomfortable, but he didn't move. I looked at Lily. Her face was devastated. Then I looked back at my wife, and I smiled. "Understood," I said. The word came out calm, military calm. The kind of calm you learn when someone's shooting at you and you need to think clearly. "Lily, grab your things." My daughter moved fast. She knew that voice. That was the voice that meant we were leaving and there was no discussion. Rebecca's face shifted, confusion, then anger. "What? You can't just—" "I can," I said, still smiling, still calm. "And I am." "Lily?" "Ready, Dad." We walked out. Lily climbed into the truck. I threw my duffel in the back. The man in my chair, later I'd learn his name was Tyler Morrison, came to the door. He looked like he wanted to say something. I didn't give him the chance. I drove to the barracks, single officers' quarters, temporary, but it had a bed and 4 walls, and it wasn't contaminated with whatever the hell I'd just walked into. Lily finally broke down in the truck. "Dad, I tried to tell you. I tried so hard to tell you." "I know, baby, I know. But I didn't know. Not yet. Not really." The barracks room was Spartan. 1 bed, 1 desk, 1 chair. Government issue furniture that had seen better days. Lily sat on the bed. I sat at the desk. Between us were 47 letters. I'd kept every single one, written on pink stationery with flower borders, the kind you buy at the base exchange for $3. Purple ink because that was Lily's favorite color. Each envelope sealed with stickers, butterflies, hearts, stars. They were rubber banded together. I'd read them all during the deployment, of course, multiple times. They were my connection to home, my reminder of what I was fighting for. But now I read them differently. Letter number 1, month 1, February. "Dad, I miss you so much already. Mom says you'll be back before we know it. School is good. I made honor roll. Mom seems happy. Everything's fine here. Stay safe. Love, Lily. Everything's fine here." Letter number 12, month 4, May. Dad, Mom is working a lot lately. She's really busy with the FRG. She's the coordinator now. Did she tell you? I moved your chair to the garage so I could see it when I get my bike. It reminds me you're coming home. Love, Lily. I moved your chair to the garage. Letter number 23, month 6, July. My hands started shaking when I got to this one. Dad, I don't want to worry you during deployment, but Mom has a new friend named Tyler. He's here every night for dinner now. She told me to call him Uncle Tyler. I don't like him. He sits in your chair. Please come home safe. I miss you. Love, Lily. The paper was soft from handling. I'd read this letter before, multiple times, but I'd been in a combat zone, focused on survival, on the mission, on not getting my team killed, and I'd read it as a daughter being dramatic about her mom having a friend. I hadn't read it as a warning. She told you to call him Uncle Tyler? I asked. Lily nodded. She was crying again. I never did. Not once. I thought maybe if I put it in the letter, you'd understand something was wrong. But I didn't want to make you worry. I didn't want you to get distracted and... Dad, I was so scared you'd get hurt if you were worrying about us instead of staying safe. My daughter, 14 years old, trying to warn me while simultaneously trying to protect me. Letter number 47, month 11, December, 1 week before I came home. Dad, you're almost home. I can't wait. I made you a welcome home banner. I asked Mom to hang it up for a surprise, but she said I was being dramatic. She said, you're just coming home from work, essentially. Dad, that made me so angry. You weren't at work. You were serving. You were keeping us safe. I can't wait to see you. I'm counting the days. 7 more. I love you so much. Love, Lily. You're just coming home from work, essentially. I closed the letters, carefully, rubber banded them back together, set them on the desk. When did you know? I asked. Month 6, Lily said quietly, when he started coming over every night, and Mom would laugh differently, and she bought new clothes, and she told me not to mention Tyler in my letters because Dad wouldn't understand, and it would stress him out unnecessarily. 6 months. My daughter had carried this for 6 months. I should have been clearer in the letters, she said. I should have just told you straight out. But I was scared, and I didn't know what to do, and... Lily. I moved to sit next to her. You did exactly right. You tried to tell me. I was the one who didn't see it. And you were right to worry about me staying focused. That's not on you. That's on her. She leaned against my shoulder. We sat there for a long time, and I made a decision. No more protecting people who didn't deserve it. No more benefit of the doubt. It was time to find out exactly what had happened while I was gone. Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg, is a massive installation. Over 50,000 personnel. The bureaucracy is legendary, but I knew how to navigate it. 14 years in the Army teaches you that. I walked into the Provost Marshal's office at 0700 the next morning, asked for the duty officer. First Sergeant Marcus Thompson was working the desk. We'd served together. He knew me. More importantly, he knew my wife. Captain Patterson, he said. His face told me he knew. I'm sorry, sir. I need gate access logs, I said, for my address, for the duration of my deployment. He hesitated. Sir, are you sure you want to? I'm sure. He printed them. The dot matrix printer took forever. That old school paper with the perforated edges you have to tear off. The sound of it printing felt like it went on forever. Each line was another entry. Another time, Tyler Morrison, contractor badge number CO847TC, had entered my home. 17 pages. First Sergeant Thompson handed them to me. Captain, I want you to know, some of us suspected, but without proof, without you here to file a complaint, our hands were tied. Base housing, civilian contractor, military spouse. It's a complicated jurisdiction issue. I wasn't angry at him. He was right. The military justice system has its limitations. I sat in his office, started reading. The first entry made my stomach drop. January 17th, 2025, 21:47 hours. Badge 0847TC, Address 2247 Airborne Avenue, entry January 18th, 2025, 0623 hours, badge Aero 847TC, exit. I deployed on January 15th. My plane left at 0400 hours. 48 hours later, Tyler Morrison was in my house overnight. There are 126 more entries, sir, First Sergeant Thompson said quietly. The pattern continues, 2 to 3 times per week, almost always overnight stays. I kept reading February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. The affair didn't develop over time. It didn't start from loneliness that built up slowly. It started within 48 hours of my deployment, before my plane had even landed overseas. My hands were shaking. First Sergeant Thompson noticed, "Sir, I need to ask. Are you okay? Do you need to talk to the chaplain or, I'm fine." I wasn't fine, but I was a Special Forces captain. Fine was what I needed to be. "Thank you for the logs. I'll need copies for legal purposes." "Already made them, sir." Of course he had. Good NCOs think 3 steps ahead. I walked out of the Provost Marshal's office with 17 pages of evidence, 127 entries, 48 hours after my departure. She'd promised to keep the home worth coming back to. She'd broken that promise before I'd even left. If you've ever trusted someone completely, only to realize you never really knew them at all, just type "betrayed" in the comments. You're not alone in that feeling. The timeline was about to get worse. I needed medical records, specifically my own. The base hospital keeps deployment health records. It's required. Every shot, every injury, every time you so much as sneeze in a combat zone, it gets documented. I requested my records, took 20 minutes to get them. The clerk was efficient. I spread them out on the barracks desk next to the access logs. And then I went back to my truck, opened the glove compartment. Inside was something Rebecca had left there 3 days before I came home. A pregnancy test, digital, clear blue, the expensive kind. The display still showed pregnant 3+ weeks. There was a note with it, Rebecca's handwriting. "Surprise! You're going to be a daddy again." I'd found it when I got back to my truck after leaving the house. She must have put it there before I arrived, before she knew I'd be bringing Lily and leaving immediately. I looked at the test, then at my deployment medical records. 0 leave, no R&R, no exceptions. 329 consecutive days deployed. The only time I'd been off that base was for mission insertions. I hadn't set foot in the United States since January 15th. The pregnancy test said 3+ weeks. I'd been home for less than 24 hours. The math was impossible. I sat there for a long time, staring at the evidence, access logs, pregnancy test, medical records, and then I did what I always did when the evidence was clear. I moved forward. Family Readiness Group, the FRG, it's a volunteer organization for military spouses. They support each other during deployments, run events, provide resources. Rebecca had been the coordinator for our battalion. She told me that in her emails, said she was proud to serve, said it made her feel connected to my work. I requested the meeting minutes, public record. The FRG secretary, a woman named Grace Martinez, who'd been doing the job for 22 years, printed them out for me. 11 months of deployment, 11 monthly meetings. Rebecca had attended 3. "Mrs. Patterson was very busy," Grace said carefully. Her tone told me she was being diplomatic. We understood. Being a coordinator is demanding. I looked at the minutes. The meetings Rebecca had missed had special notes. Coordinator absent, unable to reach. Coordinator called in sick. Coordinator no-show. But there were 4 meetings where she'd signed in as present. And in those 4 meetings, Tyler Morrison was listed as her guest. "Civilian contractors can attend FRG meetings?" I asked. "If they're sponsored by a military spouse, yes," Grace said. Mrs. Patterson introduced Mr. Morrison as a friend who was interested in supporting military families. I bet he was. One of the meeting minutes had a coffee stain on it. October, Tyler Morrison had presented a slideshow about technology support for deployed families. Rebecca had thanked him personally in the minutes, called him an invaluable resource. I thanked Grace, took the minutes, added them to the growing pile of evidence. My wife had abandoned her FRG duties, used the few meetings she did attend to legitimize her relationship with Tyler, and gotten pregnant with his child while telling me everything was fine at home. The burner phone was the last piece. I didn't find it. Base security did. During a routine parking lot cleanup, there'd been a vehicle break-in reported. Standard procedure is to document everything found in the area. They found a phone under the driver's seat mat in Rebecca's car. Cheap flip phone, silver metallic, Cricket wireless, pay-as-you-go, no SIM card, Wi-Fi only. They'd turned it in to Lost and Found. When they tried to identify the owner, they opened it. The phone wasn't password protected. The wallpaper was a photo of Rebecca and Tyler, kissing. Security called me, asked if I wanted to retrieve my wife's property. I did. The phone felt cheap in my hand, plastic, light, the kind of thing you buy at a gas station for $30. It had that particular click when you opened it, that electronic beep when you turned it on. I sat in my truck, turned it on, opened the messaging app, 2,847 text messages, 67 hours of call logs. I scrolled to the beginning. The first message, January 16th, 2025. 22:38 hours. Rebecca, he's gone for 11 months. We have time. Let's not waste it. Tyler, are you sure? This feels risky. Rebecca, he thinks this is his home, but I stopped feeling married the day he chose the army over me. You make me feel alive again. Tyler, I'll come over tomorrow night after he's definitely gone. Can't wait to see you. Rebecca, I'll leave the door unlocked. I kept scrolling. Months of messages, explicit photos, plans, complaints about me, about the military lifestyle, about how she deserved better. One message from month 6 stood out. Rebecca, Lily is getting suspicious. She keeps asking why you're here so much. I told her you're just a friend, but she's smart, like her father. I need to be more careful. Tyler, maybe we should cool it for a bit. Rebecca, no, I've waited long enough. Michael will be gone for 5 more months. By the time he gets back, we'll have a plan. Tyler, what kind of plan? Rebecca, the kind where I'm finally happy. I closed the phone, sat in the darkness of my truck. The base was quiet. 2,300 hours. Most people were asleep. 2,847 messages. 67 hours of calls. A plan. A baby. A betrayal that started in 48 hours. She hadn't just broken her promise to keep the home worth coming back to. She'd never intended to keep it in the first place. I'd survived 11 months in a combat zone, survived firefights and IEDs and situations I can't talk about. I'd come home safe, just like I promised. But the home I came back to didn't exist anymore. Maybe it never had. The next morning, I met with base security. They'd flagged Tyler Morrison's contractor badge for review after the burner phone discovery. Standard procedure when a civilian contractor is involved in conduct that might compromise base security. The security officer, a staff sergeant named Williams, pulled up Tyler's file on her computer, clicked through screens, stopped. Her face changed. Captain Patterson, she said carefully, I need to show you something. She turned the monitor toward me. Tyler Morrison's contractor record, hired 18 months ago. IT support, computer systems, access to multiple buildings, clean record for the first 4 months. Then a flag. Red text. Probation status. Inappropriate relationships with military dependents. Scroll down, I said. She did. The report was from 14 months ago. A deployed soldier's wife, Marine Corps. Her husband was deployed to Okinawa. Tyler had befriended her at the base gym, started helping with her computer problems, spent increasing amounts of time at her home. A neighbor reported it. Investigation opened, no criminal charges, just inappropriate conduct. Tyler received a written warning, probation for 12 months. The probation period ended 2 months before he met your wife, Sergeant Williams said. So he waited, I said, waited until he was clear, then found another target. Sir, I can't speculate on intent, but the pattern is concerning. Pattern. That was the kind word for it. The real word was predator. How many other women? I asked. That we know of? Just the one Marine spouse. But Captain... She hesitated. There might be others who didn't report. Some spouses are ashamed or scared or worried about their husband's career. Rebecca wasn't his first victim. She was his second documented one, and probably not his last attempt. I'm pulling his badge, Sergeant Williams said. Effective immediately. He's banned from all base facilities pending investigation. She handed me his contractor badge. White plastic, Tyler's photo. Base access authorized, stamped across the top, and now stamped in red ink, revoked. The plastic was smooth, sharp corners. I turned it over in my hand. This little piece of plastic had given him access to my home, to my wife, to my life. Captain Patterson, Sergeant Williams said, I want you to know we failed you. We should have been watching him more carefully after the first incident. We should have... You followed procedure, I said. He waited until he was clear. This isn't on you. But it was on someone, and his name was Tyler Morrison. I found him in the base parking lot 2 days later. He was getting out of his silver Honda Civic, the same car that had been in my driveway, the same car that had been parked outside my house 127 times. It was late afternoon, shift change. The parking lot was busy. Good. I wanted witnesses. Tyler saw me approaching. His face went white. He moved toward his car door, like he was going to get back in, drive away. Tyler Morrison, I said, my voice carried, military voice, the one that makes everyone within 50 feet turn and look. He froze, hand on the car door. I don't have to talk to you. You're right, I said. I stopped 10 feet away, hands visible, non-threatening posture. You don't, but I'm going to talk anyway, and you're going to listen. People were watching now, contractors leaving the IT building, soldiers heading to their cars. Everyone could sense something was happening. You targeted my wife, I said, while I was deployed, while I was in a combat zone. You came into my home 127 times. You got her pregnant, and you did all of this knowing I couldn't defend my marriage, couldn't defend my family because I was serving my country. Tyler's hands were shaking. It's not like that. She wanted. My voice stayed calm, level, but everyone could hear the steel underneath. She wanted. What about what you wanted, Tyler? You wanted a deployed soldier's wife, just like the last one, just like the Marine wife 14 months ago. That's your pattern, isn't it? Find lonely spouses, exploit their vulnerability, wait until their husband is overseas and can't do anything about it. His face went from white to red. That's not... I didn't... You were flagged for it. Probation. Then you waited until you were clear, and found another target. Officers! Tyler shouted suddenly. 2 military police officers were walking across the parking lot. Standard patrol. Tyler waved at them frantically. Officers, this man is harassing me. The MPs approached. I recognized one of them, Sergeant Chen. Good soldier. I stayed perfectly still, hands visible. What's going on here? Sergeant Chen asked. This man is threatening me, Tyler said. His voice was high, panicked. I want him removed. Sergeant Chen looked at me, at my uniform, at the combat patch on my shoulder, the 12th Special Forces Group insignia, worn and faded from 11 months of use. Then he looked at Tyler. Sir, Sergeant Chen said to me, can you explain the situation? I'm Captain Michael Patterson, I said. My voice was calm, professional. 12th Special Forces Group. I recently returned from an 11-month deployment. This civilian contractor was in my home 127 times during my deployment. Base access logs confirm it. He had an affair with my wife. He's currently banned from base facilities. His badge has been revoked. I pulled out my phone, showed them the email from Sergeant Williams. Badge revocation notice. Official. The other MP looked at Tyler. Sir, is this true? Your badge has been revoked? Tyler's face crumbled. Yes, but... Then you're trespassing, the MP said. You need to leave immediately. I just need to get my things from the office. You'll coordinate that with your supervisor, Sergeant Chen said. His tone had changed, colder. Through official channels, you're not authorized on this installation. You need to leave now. Tyler looked at me, then at the MPs, then at the crowd that had gathered, 20, 30 people watching. He got in his car, hands shaking so badly he dropped his keys twice. He drove away. Sergeant Chen turned to me. Captain, I'm sorry for what happened to your family. Not your fault, Sergeant. Still, we take care of our own. If he comes back, call us immediately. I nodded. Watched Tyler's car disappear through the gate. He was gone, banned. No more access to the base. No more access to military families. No more hunting grounds. But the damage was already done. 2 days later, Rebecca showed up at the battalion headquarters, demanded to see the commander, demanded that I be disciplined for harassment of her friend. I was in a meeting when I got the call. Colonel Patricia Hayes wanted to see me in her office, immediately. Colonel Hayes was 52, 28 years in the Army, battalion commander. She'd deployed 3 times, lost soldiers, buried soldiers. She didn't tolerate bullshit from anyone. When I walked into her office, Rebecca was sitting in one of the chairs. She looked put together, hair done, makeup perfect, playing the role of the wronged wife. Captain Patterson, Colonel Hayes said, sit down. I sat, parade rest posture, hands folded. Rebecca jumped in immediately. Colonel, my husband has been harassing my friend Tyler. He confronted him in a parking lot, threatened him, had him banned from the base. This is abuse of his rank and position. I want him disciplined. Colonel Hayes looked at me. Captain, your response? Ma'am, I said, I can provide documentation, base access logs showing Mr. Morrison entered my home 127 times during my 11-month deployment. A burner phone with 2,847 text messages documenting their affair. Mr. Morrison's contractor badge was revoked by base security after they discovered he was flagged 14 months ago for similar inappropriate conduct with another deployed soldier's wife. I pulled out the folder, set it on Colonel Hayes' desk. She opened it, started reading. Rebecca's face went pale. Those are evidence, I said, of systematic betrayal of a deployed service member and Mr. Morrison's predatory pattern of targeting military spouses. Colonel Hayes read in silence, flipped through pages, access logs, screenshots of messages, the security report on Tyler's prior incident, the pregnancy test photo with timestamp. She closed the folder, looked at Rebecca. Mrs. Patterson, Colonel Hayes said. Her voice was ice. Let me make sure I understand. Your husband deployed for 11 months in a combat zone. During that deployment, you brought a civilian contractor into base housing 127 times. You abandoned your family readiness group coordinator duties, missing 8 out of 11 meetings. You became pregnant with this contractor's child, and you have the audacity to come into my office and claim harassment. Rebecca's mouth opened, closed. No words came out. Let me be very clear, Colonel Hayes continued. Captain Patterson is one of my officers. He served honorably for 11 months in conditions I cannot discuss in front of civilians. He came home to Betrayal, and he has handled this situation with remarkable restraint. If anything, I'm impressed he didn't break Mr. Morrison's jaw in that parking lot. Colonel, you don't understand. I understand perfectly, Colonel Hayes said, "You're dismissed, Mrs. Patterson. And for the record, base housing will be receiving a copy of this documentation. You'll be hearing from them regarding your occupancy status." Rebecca stood up. She looked at me. The mask slipped for just a second. I saw it. Rage. Pure rage. She'd expected them to side with her, expected her performance to work. It hadn't. "This isn't over," she said. "Yes," Colonel Hayes said. "It is. Get out of my office." Rebecca left. The door closed behind her. Colonel Hayes looked at me. Her expression softened, just slightly. "Captain, I'm sorry this happened to you, and I'm sorry it took 11 months for you to find out. How's your daughter?" "She's strong, ma'am. Stronger than she should have to be." "They always are," Colonel Hayes said quietly. "Military kids, they carry so much." She paused. "You have my support, officially and unofficially, whatever you need." "Thank you, ma'am." "And Captain, welcome home, really home, not whatever that was." I stood, saluted, left her office. For the first time since I'd gotten off that transport, I felt like maybe I wasn't fighting alone. Lily found out the full truth 3 days before Christmas. I'd been trying to protect her, give her information in pieces, but military bases are small communities, and teenagers talk, especially military teenagers who've known each other their whole lives. She was at youth group at the base chapel. Wednesday night, I was supposed to pick her up at 2000 hours. I got there early, parked outside. At 1945, the chapel doors burst open. Lily ran out. She was crying, running. Behind her, Jennifer Morrison, Tyler's mother, who volunteered with the youth group, was calling after her. I got out of the truck. "Lily!" She ran to me, but not for comfort. She was angry, shaking with it. "You knew!" she screamed. "You knew everything and you didn't tell me." People were coming out of the chapel now. Kids, parents, all watching. "Lily, let's talk in the truck." "No!" She was crying harder now. Sarah told me. Her mom heard it from Mrs. Chen, who heard it from her husband, who's an MP. Everyone knows. Everyone knows about Mom and Tyler and the baby and the... She couldn't finish. Pulled my deployment journal out of her backpack, threw it at me. You knew, and you let me keep planning her stupid birthday party like we're a happy family. How could you lie to me?" The journal hit my chest, fell to the ground. Green canvas cover, 11 months of my life in that notebook. "I didn't know until I got home," I said, "and I was trying to protect you." "I don't need protection. I needed the truth. I needed..." Her voice broke. "I needed to know I wasn't crazy, that what I saw was real, that Mom really was..." She collapsed, just folded. I caught her, held her up. She was sobbing into my chest, all the anger draining into grief. "I tried to tell you," she whispered, "in my letters. I tried so hard, but I didn't want you to worry. I didn't want you to get hurt over there, and now everyone knows, and I'm the stupid kid whose mom..." "You're not stupid," I said. "You're not. None of this is your fault." Jennifer Morrison approached. She looked devastated. "Captain Patterson, I'm so sorry." The kids were talking. Sarah's mother had heard something, and Lily put it together. "I tried to get her to wait, to talk to you first, but..." "It's okay," I said. "This was going to happen eventually." I picked up my journal, helped Lily to the truck. We drove home to the barracks in silence. When we got inside, she finally spoke. "I thought you were the one lying to me. I thought you knew and you stayed with her anyway, and I couldn't understand why you'd do that." "I know, baby. But you didn't know. You were just trying to process it, trying to figure out what to do." "Yeah." She looked at me. "I don't want to see her. Mom, I don't want to talk to her or live with her or..." "You don't have to. Promise?" "I promise." The next day was Thursday. We went to the base chapel. Not for youth group, just to sit. It was empty, quiet. The pews were worn wood. The stained glass windows let in colored light. Red, blue, yellow. Lily sat in the front row. I sat next to her. We didn't talk for a long time. "Dad," she finally said, "is any of this real? Because if Mom could lie in this place for months, leading the FRG and going to church and acting like everything was fine, I don't know what's real anymore." I wanted to tell her everything was real, that faith was real, that goodness was real, that people kept their promises. But I didn't know that anymore either. "I don't know what's real either, baby," I said, "but you and me sitting here together, this is real." She leaned against my shoulder. I put my arm around her. We sat there until the light through the stained glass changed, until the chapel was almost dark. "I want to keep living with you," she said. "Not Mom, is that okay?" "More than okay. And I don't want to call Tyler Uncle Tyler ever again." "You never have to see him again." "Good." We sat there a little longer. Then she touched my combat patch, the one on my shoulder, worn and faded, the 12th Special Forces Group insignia. "This is real too," she said. "What you did over there, what you survived, that's real." "Yeah. And what I did, writing you those letters, trying to warn you, that was real." "That was real." "Then maybe real isn't about the place or the promises people make. Maybe real is just who shows up out of the mouths of 14-year-olds. "Yeah," I said, "maybe it is." If you were me, what would you do? Tell Lily everything immediately, every detail, every betrayal, type truth. Or try to protect her from the worst of it as long as possible, type protect. What would you do? There's no right answer here. Yeah. That's the thing about betrayal. Someone always gets hurt. You just get to choose who. I made my choice. Christmas Eve. It was December 24th, 1800 hours. The barracks room had a small artificial tree. Lily had insisted, said we needed something normal, something that felt like Christmas. We were supposed to go to Rebecca's sister's house, family dinner, play pretend for the holidays. Rebecca had been calling, texting, begging Lily to come, promising it would be just like old times. Lily had refused. We were eating takeout Chinese food instead, on paper plates, in a barracks room. It wasn't what either of us had imagined. Lily was quiet, picking at her lo mein. Finally, she set down her fork. "Dad, can I read your deployment journal?" I hesitated. "Lily, I don't think—" "Please, I need to understand. I need to know what you were thinking, what you hoped for when you came home." I pulled it out of my desk drawer, handed it to her. Green canvas cover, water-stained, worn at the corners, the smell of desert sand still embedded in the pages. She opened it, started reading. I watched her face, watched it change as she read through the months. February entries about missing home. May entries about Rebecca's emails getting shorter. August entries about feeling disconnected. November entries about sensing something wrong but not knowing what. Then she got to the last entry. Day 329, the day I flew home. She read it out loud. Her voice was soft, young, reading words I'd written for myself. Day 329, flying home. Can't wait to see my girls. 11 months felt like 11 years. But I survived because I knew I had a home worth surviving for. I had a wife who loved me and a daughter who needed me. I'm coming home safe, just like I promised. She closed the journal. The sound of the pages shutting was gentle, final. She looked at me, tears streaming down her face. "You kept your promise, Dad." Her voice broke. "You came home safe." I nodded, couldn't speak. But she didn't keep hers. Now she was whispering, "She forgot about you the moment you left." We both cried then, father and daughter, in a barracks room on Christmas Eve, mourning the home that never existed, The promise that was only kept by one person. Eventually, Lily wiped her eyes. I'm glad you found out, Dad. I'm glad you know, because now you can stop trying to save something that was already gone. Yeah. And we can figure out what's real. Just you and me. Just you and me. She picked up her lo mein, started eating again. Like a weight had lifted. Like the truth, as terrible as it was better than the lie. And I realized she was right. I'd survived 11 months in a combat zone. I could survive this. We both could. Because we had each other, and that was real. The custody hearing was scheduled for January 8th. Family court. Fort Liberty Legal Assistance had connected me with a civilian lawyer who specialized in military divorces. His name was David Kim, former JAG officer. He knew the system. The custody evaluation report came back. He said, we were sitting in his office, 2 days before the hearing. He slid a blue-back document across the desk. 34 pages. Dr. Robert Chen's signature on the bottom. I'd met Dr. Chen 3 times. VA counselor, specialized in helping veterans process trauma. We'd talked about deployment, about coming home, about betrayal, about how PTSD and relationship trauma can compound each other. He'd also evaluated Rebecca and Lily. I opened the report, started reading. Section 4 was titled Parental Fitness Assessment. Dr. Chen's words were clinical, professional, but the meaning was clear. Rebecca Patterson demonstrates a pattern of prioritizing personal gratification over parental responsibility. During subject's spouse's deployment, she abandoned volunteer coordinator duties, documented, engaged in extramarital affair in family home, documented, and exposed minor child to inappropriate adult relationship, child's testimony. Subject shows minimal insight into impact of actions on child's emotional development. Subject's lack of support for military values, which child has embraced through JROTC and stated career goals, is detrimental to child's developmental trajectory. The recommendation was on page 32. Primary physical custody, father, legal custody, shared with restrictions. Child should not be required to have contact with mother's romantic partner. Child's wishes, age 14, should be given significant weight per North Carolina statute. David looked at me. It's a strong report. Dr. Chen is highly respected. The judge will listen. And Rebecca? Her lawyer will argue that your deployment schedule makes you an unstable custody option, that Lily needs her mother, that this is a temporary crisis and Rebecca deserves a chance. What are our chances? 80-20 in your favor, maybe higher. But Michael, he paused. Lily is going to have to testify, and it's going to be hard for both of you. The courtroom was small. Family court isn't like TV, no jury, no gallery, just the judge, lawyers, parties, and whoever's testifying. Judge Morrison, no relation to Tyler, thank God, was in her 60s, 20 years on the bench. She'd heard it all. Rebecca looked different, smaller somehow. Her lawyer, a woman named Sandra Phillips, had clearly coached her. Conservative dress, minimal makeup, humble posture. The hearing started with procedurals, evidence submission. My lawyer presented the access logs, the burner phone records, the FRG meeting minutes, the security report on Tyler's pattern. Rebecca's lawyer tried to object. This is character assassination. My client's personal life has no bearing on her fitness as a mother. Judge Morrison looked over her glasses. Miss Phillips, your client conducted an 11-month affair while her husband was deployed in a combat zone in the family home, where their 14-year-old daughter lived. That has direct bearing on parental judgment. Objection overruled. David presented Dr. Chen's evaluation. Read Section 4 aloud. Rebecca's face went white. Then it was time for testimony. I went first. Answered questions, deployment timeline, coming home, discovery, my plan for custody, my work schedule, support system. Captain Patterson, Rebecca's lawyer said during cross-examination, you're a Special Forces officer. You deploy regularly, sometimes on short notice. How can you provide stable custody when you might be gone for months at a time? I've served 14 years, I said. The Army provides support structures, family care plans. If I deploy, Lily will stay with my sister, Sarah Jane. She's a retired Army officer herself, lives 30 minutes away. Lily knows her, trusts her. And you think that's better than staying with her mother? I think that's better than staying with someone who abandoned her FRG duties, neglected her during my deployment, and exposed her to an inappropriate relationship with a man who has a documented pattern of targeting military spouses. Objection sustained. Captain, stick to facts. Yes, Your Honor. Then David called Lily. She walked to the witness stand, 14 years old in a skirt and blouse we'd bought specifically for this. Her hands were shaking. The bailiff swore her in. She sat down, looked at me. I nodded. David started gentle, established her age, her school, her JROTC involvement, her relationship with both parents. Then, Lily, when did you first suspect your mother was having a relationship with Mr. Morrison? Month 6 of Dad's deployment, July. What made you suspicious? Tyler started coming over every night for dinner. Mom would laugh differently around him. She bought new clothes. She told me to call him Uncle Tyler. And she told me not to mention him in my letters to Dad because it would stress Dad out unnecessarily. Did you mention him anyway? Yes, in letter number 23. I tried to warn Dad without making him worry too much. I didn't want him to get distracted over there and get hurt. What did you observe over the next 5 months? Lily's voice got quieter. Tyler's car was there most nights, sometimes overnight. Mom missed a lot of my school events. She stopped going to FRG meetings. She stopped talking about Dad. It was like he didn't exist anymore. How did that make you feel? Scared and angry and guilty because I didn't know what to do. I was 13, 14 years old, and my dad was in a war zone, and I couldn't protect him from what was happening at home. Rebecca's lawyer stood. Objection. The witness is editorializing. Overruled. Judge Morrison said, this is a custody hearing. The child's emotional experience is relevant. David continued, Lily, do you feel safe with your mother? Lily looked at Rebecca, then back at David. Tears started. My dad left to serve our country. My mom was supposed to hold our family together, but she replaced him before his plane even landed. She forgot about him. I tried to tell him in my letters, but I didn't want to distract him because I was scared he'd get hurt worrying about us. But I shouldn't have protected her. She didn't deserve it. The courtroom was silent. Do you want to live with your father? Yes. Why? Because he keeps his promises. Because he came home safe like he said he would. Because he's the only honest person I know. Rebecca was crying now, but Lily didn't look at her. David sat down. Rebecca's lawyer declined to cross-examine. Smart move. Anything she asked would only make it worse. Judge Morrison called a recess. 30 minutes later, we reconvened. I've reviewed the evidence, Judge Morrison said, Dr. Chen's evaluation, the testimony, and I've considered the child's wishes, which at age 14 carry significant weight under North Carolina law. She looked at Rebecca. Mrs. Patterson, your actions during your husband's deployment demonstrated extraordinarily poor judgment. You abandoned volunteer responsibilities. You conducted an extended affair in the family home where your daughter lived. You exposed your child to an inappropriate relationship with a man who has a documented history of targeting military spouses. Most concerning, you instructed your daughter to hide information from her deployed father. Then she looked at me. Captain Patterson, your service record is exemplary. Your family care plan is sound. Your relationship with your daughter is clearly strong. She signed the order. Primary physical custody is granted to the father. Joint legal custody with restrictions. The mother shall not expose the minor child to her romantic partner. The child shall not be compelled to have contact with the mother against her wishes. The child may choose her visitation schedule. The gavel came down. Lily started crying, but this time it was relief. The battalion Christmas party was December 20th. I almost didn't go, didn't want the attention, didn't want to be the guy everyone whispered about, but Colonel Hayes had made it clear. You're going, Captain. That's an order. So I went. Dress uniform, medals, combat patch. Lily came with me. She wore her JROTC uniform. We walked in together. The room went quiet. 400 people, soldiers and their families. Everyone knew. In a military community this size, everyone always knows. Then, First Sergeant Thompson stood up, started clapping, slow, deliberate. One by one, others joined. Soon the whole room was applauding. For what? I wasn't exactly sure. For coming home? For surviving? For showing up? Colonel Hayes took the microphone. She was in her dress uniform too. Command presence. The kind that makes you stand straighter without thinking about it. Good evening, everyone, she said. Before we start the festivities, I want to talk about something important, something that defines who we are as a military community. The room settled. People sat, listened. The hardest part of deployment isn't the danger, Colonel Hayes continued. It's the trust. Trust that while you're gone, the people you love are safe. Trust that your family is taken care of. Trust that the home front remains secure. She paused. Let that sink in. Most of our families honor that trust. They're the backbone of this battalion. They run the FRG. They support each other. They raise children alone. They make sacrifices most civilians can't imagine. And they do it with grace and strength. Another pause. Some don't. The silence was absolute. Tonight we stand with those who held their post and their honor, even when the people they loved didn't hold theirs. We stand with the soldiers who served with distinction, and we stand with the children who showed more courage and integrity than some adults. 400 people turned to look at me and Lily, and stood. The applause was deafening, not polite, not obligatory, real. Lily grabbed my hand, squeezed hard. Colonel Hayes wasn't done. This battalion takes care of its own. If anyone in this room is struggling, if your spouse deployed, if you're feeling alone, if someone is making you uncomfortable, we have resources. Use them. We're a family, and families protect each other. More applause. Then the party started. Music, food, kids running around. People came up to me all night, thanked me for my service, told me they were sorry, told me Lily was a brave kid, told me they wished they'd known sooner, done something sooner. I told them all the same thing. It's not on you, but thank you. Around 2100 hours, First Sergeant Thompson pulled me aside. Sir, I wanted you to know Morrison's contractor company fired him, liability risk, and base security forwarded their report to civilian law enforcement. He's facing charges for misuse of government access. Good. And Mrs. Patterson moved out of base housing last week, went back to her hometown in Ohio. I heard. So it's done. Clean sweep. They're both gone. Yeah. He handed me an envelope. This came to the battalion. I thought you should see it. Inside was a letter from Jennifer Morrison, Tyler's mother. Captain Patterson, it read, I am profoundly sorry for my son's actions. What he did to your family is inexcusable. I raised him better than this. I failed, and you and Lily paid the price. Please know that Tyler is no longer welcome in my home. I have cut all contact, and I pray that you and your daughter find peace. You both deserve it. Sincerely, Jennifer Morrison. I folded the letter, put it back in the envelope. Even his own mother abandoned him, I said, and actions have consequences. Thompson said, even for predators. Three weeks later, I got a call from an adoption agency. The baby had been born, healthy boy. Rebecca had signed the relinquishment papers the day after delivery, closed adoption. The adoptive parents were a Marine couple, both active duty, stationed at Camp Lejeune. They'd been trying to have a baby for 8 years, 3 miscarriages. The adoption counselor asked if I wanted to see a photo. I said yes. She emailed it. I opened it on my phone. The couple was in their mid-30s. The mother was holding the baby, wrapped in a soft blue blanket. The father had his arm around both of them. They were crying, happy tears. The baby would never know Rebecca, would never know Tyler, would grow up with 2 parents who wanted him desperately, who'd serve their country with honor, who'd teach him integrity and courage. Even in betrayal, grace existed. I closed the photo, said a quiet prayer for that kid. He didn't ask to be born into this mess, but he'd landed somewhere good. 6 months passed. A lot happened in those months. Paperwork, lawyers, base housing transition. Lily and I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment off base. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Rebecca tried to contact Lily. Emails, texts, cards. Lily ignored all of them. Eventually, Rebecca's lawyer sent a letter saying Rebecca respected Lily's wishes and would wait until Lily was ready. Lily said she'd never be ready. I believed her. Tyler's case went through the system. Misuse of government access, trespassing. He pled guilty, got probation, banned permanently from all military installations nationwide. His career in contractor work was over. Dr. Chen and I kept meeting. Once a week, then every other week, then monthly, processing, healing, learning to trust again. And in April, I got promoted. Major. The promotion board had reviewed my case, decided that being the victim of infidelity wasn't grounds to deny advancement. In fact, Colonel Hayes wrote in my evaluation, demonstrated exceptional character under extreme personal duress, handled complex family crisis with integrity and professionalism, strongly recommend for promotion and continued leadership positions. The promotion ceremony was small. Lily pinned on my new rank, Major's gold oak leaf. She was so proud, cried a little, happy tears this time. "You did it, Dad." "We did it, kiddo." That same week, Lily got her acceptance letter, West Point Preparatory School, summer program. If she did well, she'd be competitive for the academy in 2 years. She'd chosen her path, following in my footsteps, but on her terms. Memorial Day, May 26th. 6 months after I came home, the base memorial ceremony was at 1000 hours. Lily and I arrived early, both in dress uniforms, me in my Army service uniform, her in her JROTC uniform. We'd brought flags, small ones, the kind you place on graves. We were assigned a section, 20 graves, 20 soldiers who hadn't made it home. Lily and I walked the rows together, placed flags, read names, thanked them quietly. When we finished, we stood together, the ceremony starting in the distance, bugler warming up, color guard assembling. Lily touched the chain around her neck. My deployment coin hung there, the one that said integrity first. I'd given it to her a month ago, told her she'd earned it more than I had. "Dad," she said, "can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you think you'll ever trust anyone again? Like, romantically?" I thought about that. Maybe, someday. When I'm ready. When I meet someone who shows me through actions, not just words. "Good, because you deserve that." "So do you, kiddo. Someday." She smiled. "I'm going to be picky, though. After everything we've been through, I'm going to make sure anyone I date has integrity first." I laughed, actually laughed. Smart kid. I learned from the best. The ceremony started. We stood at attention. The national anthem played. The color guard presented the colors. A chaplain spoke about sacrifice and service and the cost of freedom. And I thought about promises, about the ones that were kept and the ones that weren't, about coming home safe and finding that home meant something different now. I'd promised to come home safe, and I did. But the home I came back to wasn't the building on Airborne Avenue, wasn't the wife who'd forgotten me, wasn't the marriage that never really existed. The home I came back to was standing next to me in a JROTC uniform wearing my deployment coin. The home was this kid who'd tried to warn me, who'd carried the weight of secrets to protect me, who'd chosen integrity over comfort. Lily was my home, and that promise, the one to keep her safe, to raise her right, to show her what honor looks like, that was the one worth keeping. After the ceremony, we drove back to our apartment, 2 bedrooms, small kitchen, but the living room had something new. The welcome home banner, 8 feet of vinyl, purple marker, glitter stars. Welcome home, Daddy, we missed you. Lily had found it in storage, asked if we could hang it up. I'd said yes. It was up now, across one wall, crooked, but there. It took a while, Lily said, looking at it, but you're home now. Really home. Yeah, I said, I am. She hugged me, and I held my daughter, my real home, the one that never left, the one that never forgot. You and me, kiddo, that's the real homecoming. You and me, Dad. And maybe that was enough. Maybe that was more than enough. Maybe that was everything. Michael and Lily redefined what family means, not who you're born to, but who shows up, who keeps their promises. If you've built your own chosen family, the people who showed up when blood relatives didn't, tell me about them in the comments. And if this story moved you, hit subscribe. I tell stories about honor, betrayal, and the families we choose when the ones we're born into fail us. I'll see you in the next one.